Going into the beginning of tax season, we're seeing a little bit of an uptick in our dealers' 2 week sales volume. So things are looking like they're panning out. I also go over kind of the shopper index of what we're seeing too, and reference some stuff from Black Book and so forth. So if you're listening to Audible, great. But if you want a chance to see the like a podcast, but if you want to see the charts, jump on to Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube and go check out the videos or the charts that we're referencing. And so let's just start with kind of the market and, the shopper activity and so forth. Again, what we like to do, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, which one I want to do, this one right here. And this is Google Trends of people looking for used cars. Okay, now this is a 12-month trend. And if you're new to these charts that I've gone over, what Google does, if you say pop in used cars, we're looking at, that's just the state of Wisconsin. Look at the United States. And you can do that by state, by the way. It also pulls in references of people looking for used cars online, things like that. So it's not just a generic term, used cars, that they have to type. Now, it's looking at the last 12 months all over the United States. You can look by state if you like, but pretty much runs the same. And it's looking at the last 12 months. And they don't give you a raw number and saying, hey, 10 million people looked for used cars. What they're doing is on a scale of 100 in the last 12 months, where was the peak? And so that's kind of what we're hitting right now. If you look February 22nd through the 28th, obviously there is some incomplete data here, could be in the 27th, but basically so far this week, it's on pace to be the highest peak. And typically the highest other peak would have been this time last year. But and that was an 87. So that's 13% increase in volume of people looking for used cars. Now, we had this weird uptick in June or July, and I believe that had to do with two things. Tariff rebate talk from the president saying, hey, we're going to give you some money back from this whole tariff thing. I think that spiked some interest, and/or the EV shopper index, because the EV credits for used EVs and stuff was going away in September. So I think that spiked some people looking for maybe some used EVs before those credits went away. So anyways, it is, for the year so far, last 12 months, the highest peak of people looking for used cars. That's good news because of, let's say, filings. So there is a site that you can go into for the IRS looking at filing statistics, and we're going to look at this year's, but let's just take a peek at last year's. Now, they updated every 2 to 3 weeks up until after May, and then after that, they just touch base twice in the year. And if we look at this time last year at let's go to the 28th. All right. Now, what it will show you on the 28th was how many total filings were done at that point in time in 2025, 52 million. And they compared that to what it looked like at the same period of 2024. Okay. And so at that point in time, it was down 3% from the previous year. And what I'm really wanting to look at is the returns. Like, everything was down as far as people filing versus previous year, website visits, things like that, filings received, self-prepared from tax professionals, returns received, okay, and then the amount refunded, and then the average amount funded, and then the average direct deposit. And so last year in 2025, it was up 5.9% from 2024. So what's cool is you can look at this time last year, but they're just starting to pop in this year's stuff. And they've only done 2 so far. The fact that it's been 2 weeks now, we should be seeing something probably, next week. So if you look, everything is down considerably, about the same from previous year to this year. Now the number of refunds, the good news is it's up. Okay. Now remember, I looked at February 28th. This was referencing February 14th. So as of February 14th, in 2025, it was 2,200. Remember, by the 28th, it jumped up to 3,400. And but the returns are up 13%. So, and what I mean by this is, if let's just say this is running real good, returns are really high, a lot of people are still in debt. A lot of people went into Christmas debt, going into the year. And I was afraid that maybe a lot of shop people will take their tax refund and try to, just get caught up through the holidays. But looks like they're actually still shopping for inventory. So that's the good news, is these people filing so far. Anybody right now are still kind of looking for that used cars. So the used car searches are good. Now, let's get into Black Book. And one of the couple things I wanted to point out, of course, we're seeing our values kind of increasing and decreasing, but they're going to go up, right? Right now, dealers are going to need to resupply, and the value of cars are going to go up. So that's going to seem like wholesale pricing, price changes, trending up, that's a normal stuff. Okay. But weekly wholesale price index, check this out. How much higher weekly price index is from 2024 to 2025. So buying cars right now becoming a very expensive. We all know that, doing the seasonal stuff. And look, rolling into these, April and May months, that's from dealers replenishing. So it's just going to get higher. The problem is, let's look at the used car retail price index. So wholesale is up way high, but retail is down below or the same, okay, as 24 and 25. So we talk about margin compression. That's it right there. That's where the strategy of first 30 becomes real important, okay? So, right now, the margin's so tight on these cars that we're replacing. And one part of that reason why is, again, the shopper counts have been low, but if you look at inventory levels, retail listings, okay, it's higher. And I've put my neck out in the last couple of years when people are talking about all the shortage, and I'm like, there's no shortage, guys. There's no shortage. And you can see 2025 had more cars than 2024. Pretty much every period of time here. Now 2026 has more cars. Okay. And again, the reason why I said there's no shortage and why people think there were shortages. One, we weren't getting the lease returns into the used car market. Well, it wasn't because we weren't selling new cars. It was because we weren't leasing new cars. Okay. Back in the COVID days, 2022, 21, 22, 23, we weren't leasing cars. Banks weren't really stable enough to even give you a projected residual values on those cars. Because at that point in time, COVID in the 2021, when values were going up, it was really hard to lease cars, and the deals that were going on, people were paying sticker and stuff. And so sticker plus. So a lot of leasing wasn't happening. So those lease returns weren't coming in back into the used car market, but they're still out there. And so, and also there's only a shortage when when demand exceeds supply. Okay. Well, the demand over the years, you want to go back to demand. Let's look at shopper count activity over the last 5 years. If you look at the peak in 2021 at 100, and again, this is over a 5-year period. I mean, the demand is half of what it was. So if you look at all this, people looking for used cars over the last 5 years, it's getting less and less and less. So even if used car inventory levels were getting less, the shopper activity was matching it. And really, it wasn't getting less because, look, you can see here 2025 had more listings than 2024, and now 2026 has more listings than 2025. So shopper counts going down even though listings were going up. That's why you have margin compression. Retail prices are really low still because there's plenty of cars to choose from with less shoppers, okay? So good news is tax season's up, shopper counts going up, your volume should be going up with it. Our dealers' 2-week sale rates now, I think, just as of the other day, are trending up at 43%. That's a 2-week window. That was on the 17th. We will update this again next week. Actually, that should kind of be updated now. Let's look at some of these metrics. Oh, here we go. Let's look at it now. It's sitting at 46% 2-week sale rate. That means our average dealer is selling 92% of their inventory right now. If you look at where it was this time last year on the 27th, it was right at 48 and 47 and 48%. And so we're right on track. at 46. And then again by March 10th, that rolls back 2 weeks. That's pretty much including this week, was at 55%. Looking in 2025. So dealers were selling 110% of their inventory. Our average dealers, at least, were selling 110% of their inventory in the peak tax season. But what you want to pay attention to, and I did this on our last video, by April 18th, it was down to 45%. That's a 10% drop from 55 down to 45 in 1 month. And that 10% drops only on a 2-week window. That means the market or volume really dropped 20% at the dealerships. So why is that important? Well, let's say you carry 100 and sell 100 in March. You sell 100% of your inventory in March and you're carrying 100. So what you typically do at that point in time is a lot of guys are going, man, we had good momentum. Let's keep buying, and still carry at a 100 inventory level. Well, if sales and volume are going to drop 20% by mid-April, and we're only, again, instead of selling 100, carry 100 and sell 100 like I did at my peak, if it drops 20%, that means I might be only selling 80. Well, shouldn't I make my inventory level more at the 80 than at the 100? And so I would say, over the next few weeks, don't buy into the false positive being, man, wholesale's up, volumes are up, our volume's up, wholesale sale rates are up, the value of cars are up. I don't want to miss out. Let's make sure we're part of this game and keep buying. And then by April, the thing, you hit a wall. And so I would say start slimming your inventory down to start matching April, May in the next few weeks, and just anticipate that coming. So hope this was helpful. If you'd like for us to see how we can help your store stay ahead of this, because that's what we do. We currently look at what is happening on your lot first. The inventory management tools do a great job at market data, auction data, and everything else, and appraisals. We're going to then fine tune exactly what's happening on your lot, both in inventory and lead management, and help you come up with an actual game plan day after day to attack your inventory and keep that momentum. So reach out to us at lotwalk.com or lotpop.com. Love to do a demo with you. And I hope you have a great weekend.